I got a new cell phone, got a new microphone. It's a decently nice day out, and I'm out of shape. Let's talk about Sentinels of Earth-Prime. This is probably going to be a video presented with minimal editing. Hope the format doesn't make anybody nauseous. I know my face can be a lot, but I'm going to go through each of the decks, which I should be able to do because I did this once before and it didn't turn out very well. So the trial run was worth it. I'll go through each of the decks and give my overall thoughts on the expansion afterwards. Hope I don't have to keep moving this back up. But here we go. Heroes, Bowman, fantastic deck. Absolutely no qualms whatsoever. It's really great to have a damage dealer whose every card play is basically one of Chrono Ranger's best tricks. His variant is great. Changed up the play style. It's really cool to be able to just like sit there and draw cards, and then start spamming arrows. Fantastic. No qualms whatsoever. Captain Thunder, really good take on a legacy style hero. Obviously the lightning motif gives him something of his own to stand out. He's a little bit less team focused, although his base power, you know, handing out a card draw, that's pretty amazing. That said, his variant is really bad because it's destroy one of your ongoing cards, he heals 2 and deals 2, and it's like, even if the ongoing destruction came after the damage, like you get the extra ping of sonic damage off of his one, I don't remember if it's called Thunderclap or what. I guess it's meant to encourage you to play his one-shots, but for the most part, like the one time I tried playing it, it was just like, okay, I don't want to give up any of his ongoings. They're all really good. You know, maybe if I had a second copy in my hand, I could use the power. Most of the time I just skip the power. Not fun. Not sure what was up with that. Now, Daedalus is the first big negative in my book. I have seen people say that they enjoy playing him, but the whole you need to get your hand size down to 6 or less, or all of your stuff explodes and hurts you is, in my mind, really bad. I mean, it's probably good that they tried it as an experiment, but I find him the opposite of fun because, you know, his cards are really powerful, but having one out becomes this game of attrition, and it's just a phenomenal anxiety generator. And furthermore, I don't know why you would use his variant. You absolutely need to be able to discard cards whenever you want. I really hate playing Daedalus. Dr. Metropolis, one of the heroes that I was most interested in finding out because he was the first hero I ever saw that had city control powers. I did not expect him to be a minion master. That's pretty cool. And the fact that his targets, you know, hurt themselves, they like slowly attrition as they do their thing is kind of interesting. Not super challenging, pretty steady power level. God, this is gonna kill my arm. I don't remember what his variant does. I haven't played him too much, but I really don't have any qualms. I like him. And of course, if you play him in Freedom City, synergy out the wazoo to everyone's benefit. Eldritch is the next major negative in my book. Eldritch is stupidly overpowered, excruciatingly fiddly, and the fact that basically none of his cards are destructible by normal means is stupid. I don't know why they did this. Like, his nemesis has the same thing going on. He's got spells that are not ongoings, and they have 4 levels of special keyword versus his 3. But of course, being a villain, none of his stuff is limited. So it's like, why did they... Oh, cripes, here comes a garbage truck. Shouldn't have done this on trash collection day. But oh well, it is Sentinels Tuesday. Basically, there's no reason for the cantrip adept master keywords. Those could have all been ongoing. It matters for Malador, it doesn't matter for Eldritch. I think that's very bad design. Admittedly, the whole reason for it is so that you don't spend 2 or 3 rounds setting up, throwing tokens on things, and then getting your stuff destroyed, which, you know, completely wipes out your efforts. But like, if they all just did what the cantrips did, and when this card is destroyed, you may move all the tokens on it to another spell, like outside of a board wipe, which is unfair in the first place, it would be fine. But instead, it takes them around to get going, But once he's going, he's handing out insane card draws, doing tons of damage, destroying upwards of 8 cards at one go. That's so fucking stupid. Oh my god, this is a really badly designed hero. And of course, the variant is like, why would you never play the variant? But he's powerful, so, you know, it's not like he's unusable. Just enjoy being a cheese monkey. Ugh. Johnny Rocket next. Fantastic hero. No qualms. Just being able to spam ongoings that you then cash in for big effects with your one-shots. Really cool way to do a speedster. I was very interested in seeing how he would be differentiated from Tachyon, and he absolutely is. And then his variant. Oh my god. What a power. That's the kind of crazy bullshit that I love, especially because it can lead to insane showboating rounds. It's like, oh, you handed me a card draw. Oh gosh, there's a card on top of my deck. Hold on while I play 5 cards. I love it. Oh my god. Maybe a little much for some people, but yeah, no, that's fantastic. Lady Liberty, also a good take on a legacy style character. She's a bit more team focused than Captain Thunder. I like that there's synergy between the two of them. It's like you have 2 team leaders, one hands out card draws, one hands out plays. So nobody's losing their hand as the game goes on. I do feel like a lot of her cards are really broken. I mean, she's got the one where you can always play power draw. You know, you can't be prevented from that. And her damage, like, can't be prevented. And that's the kind of thing that you see in custom work a lot, that I'm always telling people, no, don't do that, that's overpowered. No, go ahead and do it now, I don't care. Sentinels of Earth-Prime did it, why not you? But she is pretty fun to play for a team support character with some decent damage options. And her variant's real good. Like, the self-damage you pretty much want, so that, what's that card called, Bear the Torch or something? The one that gets better the more damage you take. You want to take damage so that card does stuff. And then getting a free card play on top of that is fantastic. So yeah, she's great. Lantern Jack. Lantern Jack is easily my favorite hero in the game, possibly in both games. I was, again, really intrigued by him when they first showed his character card, because he's got 15 HP. That's less than even Writhe. That's down around Southwest Sentinels territory, and they have defense and healing. Well, he's got healing too, and he can heal above his maximum, and that's so neat. And the fact that, you know, his big damage card cares about the difference between your current and max HP. Doesn't matter which way it goes. That's awesome. He deals scads of damage, and the variant changes up the playstyle in an interesting way, making him a phenomenal soft tank. I think I prefer just a little bit less, simply because he has the one card that's +3 to his next damage to a non-hero target, and it's like, okay, if I'm not immediately using my power to hit something, then I have to remember that for a round. But that's okay. He's great, I love him. And then we get to Black Mark number 3, which is not quite as bad as the other two. That's Pseudo. He's just not very good, all things considered. Like, theoretically, he's a far more interesting take on Visionary, who is one of my least favorite heroes to play outside of her Unleashed variant. But like, his deck manipulation is phenomenal, but his deck is focused around constantly changing shape, and you can only have one in play at any given time. And at least with his base power, you start running out of cards real quick, because eventually you're going to put out a shape and be like, okay, I just want to keep this one out. You know, I don't need to change shape in order to be useful to the party. What the hell am I going to do with all these other shapes in my hand? And all of his card draw is, you know, draw 3 cards, discard all non-shapes. So the one thing that he's really missing is, like, he deals himself 2 damage, and shapes are indestructible to the end of your turn. Play a card or play the top card of your deck, just so he can get 2 shapes out. Because, like, some of them are really not worth it. Like, some of them are worth playing because you get some deck manipulation, or he heals with the damage reducer. But, like, it's either clobbering arms or barbed spines. Those are the ones that deal damage. Those are the ones that help you win the game. If you don't have one of those out, what are you doing? God, there's a lot of traffic today. And, you know, the one that makes him immune to melee and projectile damage, like, I suppose there are circumstances where that could be useful, but not really. I will say I like the stealth form. Being able to take somebody else's damage and then get a bonus for it is actually pretty cool. Very helpful, especially if he's tied with someone and it's like, this is going to hit the second highest. Well, we're both tied. Let's have it hit you, and then I'll redirect it to me, and I'll get a +1 off of it. Like, that's cool. But yeah, no, it's easy to see what he's supposed to do, and he just doesn't do it that well. Enough about him. Raven. Raven's all right. I mean, honestly, she's basically just the Wraith. She's Batman, but she's a girl. I don't know what else to say. And she does use her equipment in a very different way, but she kind of doesn't do anything too different. I mean, the tactics they're not super interesting, to be perfectly honest. I need to play her next to Echelon and see how they synergize, because that would be interesting. But yeah, being able to build up and throw your utensils at villain targets is kind of fun. It makes her fairly dynamic. Whereas the Wraith is just, you set up and then you kill everything, and she's really boring. The variant, though, is significantly better than the base power, which is unfortunate since it's a completely different person. But, oh well. Siren, I like. Being able to just slowly gather, the power of nature and the weather and so forth, and start dealing all kinds of damage to everything with her crazy field effects that affect everything. That's a lot of fun. Plus she has synergy with Meridian Refuge. She would have synergy in Definitive Edition with Tempest. And you've seen the Definitive Edition Earth-Prime video that I did. Yeah, she'll work just fine in there, I'm sure. So that presents a lot of interesting options, and her variant's real good. Yeah, I don't think I have anything too specific to say about her. She's got a lot of interesting things going on. I like her. And last but not least is Star Knight, who I also like. She's basically just mainstay. She's a little bit more focused on destroying her stuff and getting a benefit for it. But she's very straightforward, good damage dealer. I like her. I really wish I knew what was going on in that variant, because it's not her. I have to assume it's a different Star Knight or a previous Star Knight, or who is that? That is a snake robot. What is going on? It's not in the lore. I don't know. All right, that moves us on to villains. Argo. I'm starting to think that Argo is harder with more heroes. I'm not sure about that. Like, he's a 1, but I have lost to him twice at this point. Once was in a video, once was playing with my friends. And I'm not sure, like, you need a lot of destruction to be able to keep up with him. And you need to be very careful about increasing all damage. It's not good. He hits really hard. That being said, the one time I beat him, I had a real easy time with it. So yeah, I'm not sure if he's like rated incorrectly or what. It is at least an interesting fight, and it's an interesting way to conceptualize and mechanicize, that's not a word, the idea of a villain who steals or copies hero powers. I like that. He just spams cards and youch. I think it's very dependent on what you get too. If you get the targets out, those are easy to take care of. Hades is easily my favorite villain. He's a lot of fun to play. I love the striking a bargain motif of his deck, where you've got the soul packs, which are here. You get a big bonus, and if this is ever destroyed, you're gonna get fucked. I love that. And then his one-shots and other cards do similar things. I really kind of feel like he's easier than Argo, though. I don't think he's a 2. That being said, their scale only goes up to 3, which feels like an oversight to me. I'll get to that. Malador the Mystic is not fun. He is super freaking hard. Oh my god. His forbidden spells are absolutely disgusting. And of course, the first one that I was introduced to is the one that destroys the side up of the hero with the lowest HP every round. That is bullshit. That is a really bad card. That's the kind of shit that we're trying to get away from in Definitive Edition. I kind of can't believe that Christopher made something like that in, was it 2018? I don't remember. But whatever. I will say defeating him is very satisfying. And like the whole being able to remove tokens from his mask, his phylactery, by doing like good things, like here's a big hit, bam, token off. That's pretty cool. Also the fact that he cashes in tokens for really nasty shit against the heroes. That's cool too. But yeah, he's a little He's tuned a little extra, if you ask me. Grumeta Mind is actually pretty interesting. It's one of those villains that not everyone is going to enjoy, but I do like, you know, you flip and it kind of resets the fight. You drop your hand, you draw that many cards, you destroy all but 2 of your cards, which that feels kind of fair. Some heroes are going to hate that more than others, but, you know, it doesn't set you back to square one. It's just, here we go. We're going to be doing this battle on the psychic plane, so everything that you had in the material world doesn't matter anymore. Very thematic, mechanically about as fair as you could ask for, I think. Yeah, like I said, I like it. It's not going to be for everybody. And then last but not least is Omega, who should absolutely be a 4. He is so hard. Oh my god. I have beaten him. He's not as satisfying as Malador. It's more like the first time you beat Oblivion. Like, holy shit. He's just unrelenting, doing all the absolute worst stuff. And I mean, the main problem is that the breaches have 20 HP, and you have to get rid of them. Oh, jeez. But he's certainly a fitting end boss, and I mean, if you can beat Oblivion in your sleep, try fighting him in the Terminus sometime. Jeez. Which brings me to the environments. Farside City is alright, I guess. It's kind of like an easier version of the Halberd Research Center, because, you know, you got the Crater Apes who are your friends until Lady Lunar comes out. She at least is, you know, a target instead of what Halberd does, which is stupid. But yeah, it's basically all things are okay until she shows up. Half the time she doesn't show up, so it doesn't matter. The Preserver artifacts being indestructible targets that do bad shit if they don't have enough HP is... I guess it's interesting. I'm not a big fan, but overall it's an okay environment. Freedom City is the standout for me, just because it's very hero focused, but a lot like fighting Hades, you know, you get a big bonus when the locations come out, and that goes on for 4 rounds, and then the villain destroys it and everything is terrible. So, you know, you eventually suffer, but you get multiple rounds of benefiting from it first, so that's okay. Plus, it's all about villains dealing damage. So, as I showed in that one fight with the gentleman, if you can tamp down the villain's damage, you can do something about that. And of course, if you play Dr. Metropolis, he is tailor-made to nerf the hell out of Freedom City's downsides. Yeah, I really like that environment. I'm kind of surprised by how much I enjoy it. Subterra is, it's alright. Kind of a cross between Doc Thorath and Ruins of Atlantis. It does have some of the more interesting things that I enjoy from Ruins of Atlantis. The targets are not awful. The tunnels are kind of awful. It's alright. Tartarus I have yet to really get a handle on. Like, I know it's got a soul pact. I've yet to see it come into play. I mostly just get hit with spirits, and the spirits are negligible and easily dealt with, which admittedly that's the kind of environment that I enjoy, but it just doesn't have any real flavor to it. And last but not least, the Terminus, which, like I said, fight Omega there and you will be in for a world of hurt. But that being said, the actual games that I've had there haven't been too bad so far. It really depends on whether or not one of the breaches shows up, and even then, it's an environment card. You can just destroy it. But yeah, it basically exists to synergize with Omega, and if it's not doing that, it's actually not as bad as it looks, which is surprising. So what do I think about the expansion overall? If you are still playing Enhanced Edition and you want more content, you should absolutely pick it up. Hopefully you probably already have. I know it took 5 years to get it from when the Kickstarter came out, but that doesn't mean it's a bad game. It just means they didn't know what they were doing. I fully do not expect that we will get any more out of Green Ronin. I just basically, I hope that they didn't lose money on it. I have a feeling whatever happened, it's probably left a sour taste, like sour relations between them and Greater Than Games, which is sad. It's at least partially on, well, no, it's on both of them, honestly. I mean, it's on Green Ronin for not managing the art primarily. That's what kept it from being fulfilled for so long. And it's on Greater Than Games for being like, hey, we're going to make a completely different game now that renders this entire thing invalid. Nothing good happened there, and it's a shame, because this is overall good. Like I said in the Definitive Edition video, I think it will work with Definitive Edition if you don't mind rubricing things in your head. And it's just, it's really a shame that that's going to be it, because I'd like to see more from them. I do think that there's probably room in their lore for at least one more expansion of about the same size, but that's it. And I don't see them adapting it for Definitive Edition either. And I can't blame them. So, yeah, Sentinels of Earth-Prime. It's fun. It's the one last expansion that I always wanted. And it's very much the bridge in design from Enhanced to Definitive Edition. You can see a lot of toying around with ideas that ended up in Definitive. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna go get some lunch.